everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray, and welcome to another video. I'm so glad you're here and I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. You guys already know by the title, by the thumbnail, what we are doing in today's video. I am putting a little spin on my monthly wrap-up and monthly TBR video. I usually do both of them separate, but I decided to switch it up a little bit and actually combine the two of them. So, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing all the books I read in June with you, as well as talking about all the books I'm hoping to read in the month of July. But before we hop into my May wrap-up and my July TBR, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video. You guys already know, Book of the Month. You guys already know how obsessed I am with Book of the Month. You know I am a huge fan. Literally tell everyone I know to join Book of the Month because I think it is such a steal. And it's just so exciting when you see this little blue box pop up at your doorstep every month. I could not say enough good things about Book of the Month. If you're not familiar with Book of the Month, they are a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers find books they love. And how it works is their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers their choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles, so you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month is also risk-free, so you can skip any month, anytime, and you won't be charged. Plus, they have the best price for new release hardcover fiction, and you guys can get your first book for just $9.99 using my code FIREWORK. So every single month, this cutie little blue box will show up on your doorstep with your book selections as well as a cutie little bookmark. I chose 2 books for the month of July, and I'm so excited for them. The first one I have is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. You guys know I am a huge Ali Hazelwood fan. I love her writing. I love her characters. I think this is another enemies to lovers, rivals in STEM. And then the second one I picked up is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. I am obsessed with this cover. It looks so fun and colorful. I'm super excited to see what this is all about. These are both on my July TBR and I cannot wait to get to them. But don't forget, you guys can get your first book for just $9.99 using my code FIREWORK. I highly recommend. Book of the Month is a total steal. Not to mention they have an incredible selection of books to choose from every single month. Chef's kiss, that's all I have to say about them. I didn't end up reading as many books as I was hoping to. I went on a week-long trip to Colorado in June, and then when I got back, I kind of just took time to myself. I feel like I was hitting a weird block when it came to filming. I was feeling super burnt out, so I decided to take it easy the rest of June and just kind of relax. Little me time, and I'm ready for July and to see what is in store for us. It's officially summertime, and it feels like summer here, so all happy vibes, all happy vibes. We're gonna hop right into it. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my June wrap-up. We're gonna talk about all the books I read in the month of June, and then we will slowly get through my July TBR, which is it an ambitious one? Absolutely. I read a total of 7 books in the month of June. I feel like June was kind of like a mix. We had some really good reads, but then we had some lower ratings. So we're gonna start off with Imagine Me and Believe Me. These are the final books in the Shatter Me series. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe I am done with that universe. I'm really sad that I'm done with it. I really would do anything to go back and read this entire series for the first time again. It was incredible. Every single book I absolutely loved. I finished up the series in June. Imagine Me is book 6 in the series, and it kind of just wraps up everything for us. Because it is like the last book in the series, I can't really say too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. If you haven't read this series, I highly recommend. Please go read it. You will not regret it. It is such a roller coaster of emotions, but it's amazing nonetheless. My favorite thing about the Shatter Me series is definitely the found family trope. You literally fall in love with every single character in this series, and it's so good. Imagine Me, book 6, we wrap up the story of Juliet, Warner, Adam, Kenji, the reestablishment, everybody involved. We finally wrap it up. I wound up reading this 4 stars, which I'm honestly really surprised about. I think every book in the Shatter Me series has been like 5 stars. This book kind of took a weird turn for me. Juliet's point of view in it was just very different from the books prior to this. It definitely blindsided me, her point of view, and if you've read this book, you guys know exactly what I mean. It's just very different from the other books. I still can't decide if I liked her point of view or not. I don't know. It was weird. I wish I could tell you guys more about about this, but I can't say anything about it because I would literally spoil it for you. But I wound up giving this 4 stars. The only reason it got knocked down from 5 was literally just Juliet's point of view. I feel like the ending of this was a bit rushed, and it kind of made me sad because it's such an incredible series, and to have the ending of it be so rushed, I just felt really weird about this one. A lot of people don't really like the books that come after the core 3, but I personally really enjoyed the books after book 3, and I feel like the series wouldn't be as good without them. I was just kind of disappointed with like the final book in the series and how it wrapped up. There are side characters in this story that I just kind of wish we got more like detail on. I really wish we could have like a spin-off series that literally only revolved around Kenji, because I fell in love with Kenji's character so much in these last few books, especially in this one. I just wanted more Kenji. It was really good though. I feel like I'm talking down about this book, and that's not how I mean it at all. I just also personally hate the last books in a series because it's like, you know, it's the end. You know it's the end of the universe and the characters. Following Imagine Me though, I went in and read Believe Me. This is officially the final book in the series. It's a novella, and I can't even say anything about this because it would spoil the entire series for you guys. It's so hard sharing books that are like the last books in a series because you can't say anything about them. This was like the official wrap up of everything. All the questions you kind of have at the end of this book get answered in this one, and I feel like this was the perfect way to end it. I think it was really sweet and cute. We get closure on our favorite characters. We get closure on Juliet. We just get an insight into what happens next in their stories. I wound up rating this 4 stars as well. I feel like it's really weird and hard to rate novellas high. They're literally novellas. There's not a lot to them, but I wound up giving this 4 stars just because it was the last one. It was just a really cute wrap up to my favorite series. These were both 4 stars. I highly recommend the Shatter Me series. I'm sorry I can't like say too much about these because again, they're the last books. These books will literally always be with me, I feel like. I also highly recommend them if you're not looking for a super heavy romance, because even though there is romance in them, there's a lot of action and adventure in them. They're just super fun reads. So we're gonna move on to Wrecked by Lauren Asher. This is book 3 in the Dirty Air series. This tells the story of Elena and Jack, and this was like one of my favorite books of the month of June. Probably one of my favorite books of the entire series. Probably one of my favorite books of 2023. It was so good. I think I love this book so much because the characters had a lot going on in their personal lives. The book talks a lot about mental health and just real life problems that people have, and it made these characters seem like so real, and I really appreciated that because I feel like in a lot of these books, the characters are definitely unrealistic, and I just appreciated like how real these characters felt. Anyways, if you're not familiar with the Dirty Air series, it basically revolves around F1 drivers finding love, which I know kind of sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but it's so cool and it's so fun. Because it's F1, there's a lot of traveling involved in these books. You visit different places around the world. It's so cool. Like, I absolutely love these. If you're not familiar with Lauren Asher as like a whole, what are you doing? Because she is like incredible. She is literally one of my favorite authors. I flew through her Dreamland Billionaire series. That series was absolutely incredible. I could not recommend it enough, and so I immediately jumped in to the Dirty Air series after it because I couldn't get enough of Lauren Asher. I have absolutely fallen in love with her writing. I have to say the Dirty Air series has not disappointed. I'm very happy with how it's been going. 5 stars. Did I say that? This is 5 stars. It was absolutely incredible. It's probably my favorite book out of the series so far, although I hear a lot of people say that book 4 is like their favorite one. So I'm super excited to get to that one and read all about Chloe and Santi. But Jax is a British F1 driver. He's basically known as the bad boy in F1 racing. He's always getting into trouble and starting trouble. Eventually enough is enough. He gets into a little bit too much trouble that starts to cause problems for his entire team. So his team president ends up hiring Elena, who is like a PR management person, and she comes in to essentially babysit Jax and keep him in check for the rest of the season, because if he keeps getting in trouble, sponsors are going to start pulling out and they're going to lose money, and the team overall is just going to look really bad. So enters Elena. She comes in to keep Jax in check, keep him out of trouble, and along the way, of course, we already know, the two of them end up sparking a little romance. There's a little tension between them, and we basically watch as the two of them kind of work through that. Jax has sworn off being with anyone romantically though because of a personal family issue and he has just sworn off love altogether. And then Elena, I don't believe Elena has sworn off love, but she also has like personal baggage that she's still trying to work through. The two of them just come from a very rough past that they're still trying to work out, and they find that when they come together, they're kind of helping each other get over those things. It's really cute. Like I said, I really enjoyed this because it is mental health heavy, and these characters just seem so real because they're battling real life issues, real life problems. I really felt for these characters. I sobbed like a baby reading this, to be honest. It definitely has some heavy parts to it. It gets very emotional. I love this so much. Next up, I have My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. This one was so weird, and I think it's because it was very insta-lovey. I'm not really big on insta-lovey tropes. They just aren't my fave. I really like the build-up when it comes to romance, so when it's insta-lovey like this, I'm just like... Last summer I read It Happened One Summer, which is also by Tessa Bailey. I really enjoyed that one. It's like a grumpy meets sunshine. So I thought for this summer it'd be really fun to pick up more Tessa Bailey books. So she writes a lot of super fun summer reads. This isn't just romance though, it's like a murder mystery romance. And the main idea of it is this like first or second grade teacher, she goes on vacation to Cape Cod with her brother, and when they get to their Airbnb, they find a body. And that's when the story really starts to take off. The police get involved, they're trying to figure out who did it, and then the sister of the person they found in the Airbnb actually ends up hiring like a bounty hunter to find out who did this to her brother. Then enters Miles. Miles is this angry, grumpy bounty hunter guy who is just trying to get the job done. But the teacher, Taylor, is always getting in his way because Taylor feels like she has always lived in a bubble her entire life. She's never done anything outside her comfort zone, and she is very into crime podcasts, so she's like, you know what, I want to take part in this investigation. I want to help you. Miles from the start is like, no, you don't know what you're doing. Let the professionals handle this. Obviously, you know, she's a teacher. But nonetheless, Taylor does not back down. Miles finds himself working with her to uncover this murder mystery. It's very like love at first sight type of vibes. They are immediately attracted to each other, but at the same time they can't stand each other because Taylor won't stay out of his way and Miles is just so grumpy. It was just like really cheesy for me. So I wound up giving this 3 stars. It was really fun. I think the summer vibes were definitely there, and I liked the whole murder mystery aspect of it, but it was really cheesy for me. Also very spicy. After that, I wound up jumping into Hook, Line, and Sinker, which is also by Tessa Bailey. This is book 2, and it follows It Happened One Summer. This one specifically, though, revolves around Fox and Hannah. Hannah is like the younger sister to Piper, which book 1 revolves around Piper. And then Fox is a fisherman who's working under Brendan, who is also like the main character in book 1. So this is their story. Fox and Hannah are like super good friends because of Piper and Brendan. It's a friends to lovers trope, which I really like. It's a small town trope, which I feel like small town tropes in the summertime are like such a vibe. I love it so much. Basically, Hannah comes to stay in Newport, Washington for a little bit because she is like working on a film there. She ends up asking Fox to room with him while she's staying there. We kind of just watch their relationship develop. It's a very cutesy little summer read. Fox is also like the playboy in it, so it's super cool to see his character development throughout the story. I'm honestly really torn between giving it 3 or 4 stars, maybe like a 3.5. I do think I liked Piper and Brendan's story a little bit more, but I still thought this was adorable. It was a cute little friends to lovers. Next up, I have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was another one of my favorite books in the month of June, and it was another book that just honestly shocked me. I am not really big on Emily Henry. If you've been around for a while, you've probably heard me talk about her. I read People We Meet on Vacation last summer, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. I thought it was very boring, slow. Her writing style was also just really different for me, and so I never wound up picking up another Emily Henry book for the longest time until this one. This is her newest book release, and I've heard so many positive things about it, so I decided to pick it up and give it a try. Absolutely adorable. I wound up giving this 5 stars. It is one of my favorite books of 2023. It is a friends to lovers, it's a second chance trope, it's a fake dating trope. Honestly, there's even a little enemies to lovers in here when you're reading in the present time chapters because the two main characters, Harriet and Wynne, like have this weird tension between the two of them. They can't like stand each other. They can't like stand to be near each other, but at the same time, that's all they want to do is be near each other. So there's like the littlest bit of enemies to lovers in here. This was really cute though. It jumps between time periods now and then, tells the story of Harriet and Wynne, and we get to see them basically fall in love when they met in college, and then we see them in the present time kind of figuring things out, trying to figure out what happened between the two of them. I loved reading about them falling in love in the before chapters. It was so cute and sweet. Gave you like those happy butterflies because they were super young when they met. They really seem to have like the perfect relationship throughout the entire story, and then in the now chapters we kind of see them navigate their breakup. The main idea of this story is that they broke up but they never told their best friends, so when they end up all going to their like beach house, they kind of have to pretend that they didn't break up for the sake of their friends because they never told them. So you watch Harriet and Wynne basically fake date and try and fool their friends into thinking that they didn't just have the worst breakup ever and break off their engagement and all this stuff. The whole story is just so sweet. I absolutely love this. I sobbed like a baby reading this, and it honestly has given me so much hope for Emily Henry books. I'm so excited to try out her other ones that I haven't read yet, and it even had me thinking that maybe I'll go back and reread People We Meet on Vacation. Part of me kind of wants to go back and see if like my opinion would change on it. If you're like me and you read a book by her that you didn't like, I definitely recommend giving this a try because I ended up loving it so much more than I ever thought I would. It made me feel like I was in my happy place reading it. The last book I have is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is my first ever Lucy Score book. I haven't actually finished it just yet, so this is actually going to branch us into my July TBR. In the month of June, I ended up reading half of this book. I'm on page 260. I'm absolutely loving this so far though. It's a small town trope, it's an enemies to lovers trope, it's a grumpy meets sunshine trope. There is a single parent trope in here. This tells the story of Naomi and Knox. Naomi is basically a runaway bride and she ends up running away to the small town of Knockmut, and there is where her twin sister Tina lives. Tina is definitely like a troublemaker in the story. When Naomi arrives in town, she finds herself trying to clean up after her sister. She finds that Tina has left her niece behind, so Naomi ends up taking in her niece and trying to figure things out with Tina, figure things out for herself in general because her life kind of blew up when she ran away from her own wedding. Knox is like this grumpy bad boy barber who lives in Knockmut. He just gives off all of the grumpy vibes, but nonetheless, as soon as Naomi arrives in town, he starts doing little things to help her out and take care of her. I really like it. It's definitely on the slow burn side of romance, which I really like, and then I kind of like all the crazy drama stuff that's happening between Naomi and Tina in this. It just makes the story more interesting. I think one of my favorite parts of it is that Knox's nickname for Naomi is Daisy and Days because when he first met her, she had just arrived in town after running away from her wedding and she had daisies in her hair. I just thought that was so cute that that's like his nickname for her, and like that's the whole idea of this cover. We also meet Knox's younger brother Nash in this. He's a police officer for Knockmut. I know that book 2 revolves around him. I am loving all the side characters that we are meeting throughout this story so far. It definitely gives off like that found family trope, which I absolutely love. I'm honestly really enjoying it so far. I'm taking my time with it. For the last half of it, I think I'm gonna put it in a reading vlog so we can really dive deep into it. Nonetheless, I am loving it so far. But these are all the books that I read in the month of June. It was definitely a little baby reading month for me, but again, I was just kind of taking it easy, taking a break. That being said though, we are gonna hop right into my July TBR. I have a ton of books here. I know I'm not gonna read them all, but they're all books that I just kind of want the option to choose from in the month of July. I'm definitely a mood reader. I like to have a variety of books to choose from. So we're gonna start off with Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is definitely a book I'm going to be reading in the month of July just because I had such good luck with Happy Place. Definitely changed my whole view on Emily Henry books, and I've heard nothing but incredible things about this one. I've also seen so many people I know reread this already this year. I'm just really excited to jump into this story and these characters. I also hope that I can also read it on the beach because I feel like the vibes would be amazing. This also just seems absolutely adorable because the two main characters are actually authors, so I feel like it's gonna be so cute. Next up I have Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I've heard such good things about this. Most people I know who have read this have rated it 5 stars. They say that it is like the best summer book to read. So this is another book that I definitely want to read in the month of July. I also just picked up the second book by her that I believe follows this one, but I haven't heard as like good of things about that one as I've heard about this one. I feel like I've heard a lot of people say that they're like disappointed with book 2, which I think is really interesting. I'm excited to give this a try and then hopefully jump into book 2 and see like if I feel the same way. I also hear that everyone says this is like their favorite second chance trope, so I'm excited. Then we have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This is another highly anticipated read for me this year because I wanted to read it last year and then I just never got around to it. With summertime, I only have like 3 months to really get through all of these summer books and I just ran out of time for this one. But this is another summer read that I've heard incredible things about. This takes place in Martha's Vineyard. There's like a huge wedding going on and the main character, Meredith, she had lost her sister Claire, I believe like a year prior to the wedding. The family has like this tradition where they play this game in honor of her sister. Meredith like vows to do her best and win this game. She kind of gets tripped up when she partners with a groomsman. They kind of start sparking a romance. The whole story kind of revolves around that. It revolves around grief and moving on. This is another one though that I've heard incredible things about. Next up I have The 5-Star Weekend by Ellen Hilderbrand. This was actually my book of the month pick last month, but I never ended up getting around to it. So I wanted to carry it on through July. I feel like this is another author who writes incredible summer romances. She has like a ton of them out, but I think this is like her newest one. It just gives off all the summer vibes. It takes place in Nantucket. I've just heard incredible things about this. Following that, we're kind of getting into books that I don't think necessarily take place in the summertime, but a lot of them have like the small town trope. The small town trope is like one of my favorites to read in the summertime. I guess we're gonna start with my little Mia Sheridan stack. These are 4 books by Mia Sheridan, who I absolutely love. You guys already know. I have to say it. Archer's Voice is my favorite book ever. I always talk about it. I am now going to try and tackle her other books. First up we have Travis, which is actually like the follow-up book to Archer's Voice. It revolves around Travis, who we meet in Archer's Voice, and this is kind of like his redemption story because in Archer's Voice he kind of messes up pretty bad throughout the story, and I don't know, I've put this off because I can't see myself falling in love with Travis the way I fell in love with Archer, especially knowing how Travis treated Archer. He really made me mad throughout the entire story, but this is like his redemption. He's supposed to basically fix all the bad things that he did in Archer's Voice. I haven't really seen or heard too many people talk about this just yet, so I have no idea what to expect. I'm totally going into it blind. I'm honestly just excited to revisit Archer and Bree. Following that, I have More Than Words and Most of All of You. These are actually a part of the same series as Archer's Voice, but they're all standalones. I don't think they cross over at all. I don't think we see Archer and Bree in these at all, but they are listed as like the same book series. I love Mia Sheridan because she writes such good love stories. I have yet to read a love story that could compare to what I've read by Mia Sheridan. They're just always so powerful. I also always sob though when I read her books. Her books make me sob, but I love them so much. Last book I have by her is Kyland, and this I believe is like an older book. I think it came out a while ago, but this is like a new cover that they just came out with. I absolutely love this. It's a small town trope. It takes place in the mountains. I've heard very controversial things on this one as of recent. I don't know what to really expect going into this. Nonetheless, I have hope because it's Mia Sheridan and I love her writing. I also feel like she has like some of the craziest plot twists I've ever read, and I think I've said this about Archer's Voice, but Mia Sheridan kind of gives me like Colleen Hoover vibes. Like her writing style is very similar to Colleen Hoover's. There's just something more in Mia Sheridan's books that I personally really like. Following that, I have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This is another book I've heard nothing but incredible things about. It's another small town trope. It's an opposites attract trope. It revolves around baking. So I'm very excited. I've heard so many good things about this. So many people have rated it 5 stars. The last 2 books I have are just books that have been a long time coming. The first one is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This actually came out last month and you guys already know it's another series I have not shut up about. This is book 4 in the Chestnut Spring series. I've read the first 3 books in the series, I believe in like March or April. Absolutely love that series. I am obsessed with all the characters, the cowboy aesthetic. It just gives off like the happiest summery cowboy vibes. Before this series, I like had no interest in country aesthetic, cowboy aesthetic, and then I read those 3 books and everything changed because now I'm obsessed with it. So this is book 4. it tells the story of Theo and Winter. Winter is the older sister to Summer, who book 1 is all about. Theo is like the bad boy bull rider in the story, and we briefly meet him, I think, throughout book 1. I'm really excited to see how their relationship develops and what happens. This is a secret baby trope, which I think is really interesting because I've never read like anything like that. Book 2 was a single father trope, but this one's a secret baby one, so it's gonna be very, very interesting to see. Winter is also very like standoffish because she was in a very bad relationship previously. Theo is like absolutely obsessed with Winter and wants everything to do with her. It's gonna be a super cute little fun story, and then I believe book 5 is coming out later this year. I know it's like marked to come out in October, but Elsie Silver herself hasn't come out with like a cover reveal or anything yet, so I don't know if we'll actually see it this year, but fingers crossed that we do. The last book I have on my July TBR is Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is book 4 in the series. It's the final book, and it tells the story of Chloe and Santiago. Santi is the older brother of Maya, who book 1 revolves around, and he's another F1 driver, and he's on the same team as Noah, so that's like how Maya and Noah meet. But this one is going to revolve all around Santi and Chloe. I've heard nothing but good things. This is like people's favorite book out of the entire series, so I'm super excited to see what happens in it. I hear there's like a really crazy twist right off the bat when you start this, so I'm like kind of nervous. I'm very excited. I have loved all these books so far. I'm excited to like finish the series because Lauren Asher is also coming out with a new series at the end of the year. And that series is a part of the same universe as the Dirty Air series and the Dreamland Billionaire series, which I really, really like about Lauren Asher. All of her books take place in the same universe, so we see very minor crossovers, but it's super fun. It's just fun to see like my favorite characters pop up randomly. But that is all for my June wrap up in my July TBR. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Let me know down below if you guys liked me combining the two. I just thought we'd change it up a little bit, especially because I didn't read that much in the month of June. Just thought it'd be more fun and easier to combine the two videos. Hopefully July will be a better reading month for us. I kind of felt myself leaning into a reading slump towards the end of June, but that's why I kind of have been taking it slow with things we never got over, because reading slumps are the absolute worst. I try to avoid them as much as possible, so taking it easy with this book, but hopefully in the month of July we can tackle the majority of these reads because we have so many incredible summer reads, and I'm just so excited for all of them. For today's video though, comment down below what Emily Henry book is your favorite book as well as your least favorite book. I hear so many people say all the time that they like some of her books, but other books they just can't get into. That's how I felt when I was reading People We Meet on Vacation and then Happy Place. I was like, oh, maybe I do like Emily Henry. Let me know down below what you guys think about her and her books. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now because your girl's losing her voice, which is not good. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.